Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly video again. So I hope that it has been well for everyone for the past week. Without further ado, we shall look at the US market outlook and the Singapore market. So let me share with you the chart right now. So we are looking at the US market, and last week discussion we stopped here where we were discussing that the Dow was testing its resistance at 35085. The market opened lower and managed to fight back and close above the resistance. So this was the first breakout. But unfortunately, there isn't any or there wasn't any follow-through buying as the Dow Jones struggled to move up higher. So we can see that the last Friday close, it actually closed lower. So the resistance at 35085 remains intact. Now, if I want to redraw this resistance, of course, we can see that for the past week, the Dow has tested this level twice. So with this candle and with this candle. So this candle, all these candles add up together to form a new minor resistance at 35150. As the Dow hit briefly all-time high before it start to pull back. So what is it going to be next week? If we look at the chart movement, the consolidation here seems to be still healthy. There is still a chance for the Dow to move up with a follow-up buying, especially when it breaks above 35150. If we recap what happened last Friday was that the US market generally was having a weak sentiment due to a series of missed revenue. Like for example, Amazon missed the estimated expectation on the revenue. So it actually pulled down the Dow. Now, if I were to look at the NASDAQ right now, the NASDAQ was really pulled down by the Amazon, the stock Amazon, and it managed to recover some loose ground to fill out some of the gap. But what we are looking at here is that the general trend seems to be a little bit weakened unless next week we have a super performance that push past this level where now Nasdaq has to cross back above 15,094 level in order to remain bullish. If it continue lower to test this level at 1471, then we may have some downward action going forward. So it depends on how it tests and hit this level as well. So depending on that candle at that point of time. So I will just provide a weekly update to you. So if the candle hitting 14781 is a long black candle, then of course we see more bearishness. But if it is a gap down, open lower at 14781 and then a strong fight back to push the index back above 15,000 level, then of course that could be still a bullish sign. No doubt the support was tested. So basically, now we have to look for the next few candles to tell us more clue on how the Nasdaq will move. S&P 500 exceeded our target a little bit, very similar to Dow, from a new minor resistance at 4423, and it pulled back and closed lower on Friday in this particular candles over here. So overall, the US market, they are consolidating, waiting for the next direction. So let's look at where it will go tomorrow. So tomorrow is, I would say, one of the important day as well, because it can show us where the next direction could be. Because if the futures or the US market were to open up positively and push past its resistance, for example, for S&P 500, 4423, and hit higher, of course, do remember our next target for S&P 500 will be 4542. Now, if the market is going for temporary corrections, then we have to look out for 4372. So once it breaks below 4372, then there might be some downward movement. But again, I need to stress this is that we need to look at how it hit there, and then we can make a further analysis on it. All right, so generally we look out for some upward action tomorrow on Monday, if there is any. If not, then hopefully the market doesn't break support and consolidate further. Next, let's look at STI. The STI is somewhat disappointing because it had a very strong movement during the intraday as it pushed past resistance above 3182 and trading towards this next resistance at 3195. Unfortunately, late sell-off pushed the index back lower and causes it to close low, almost flat, and forming a long upper shadow, suggesting the uncertainty in its upward movement. So typically, this is a sign of selling, and we may experience some downward selling during the early trading hours tomorrow. If the market can recover and close back around 3180, that is a very good level to close. If not, at least 3174, then we may see some buying action that would negate the selling action, potentially negate that selling action. So we have to see how tomorrow react. Now, if tomorrow's reaction is a lower action, where the STI close around 3159 or below, then we have to look at the new minor support that was formed recently, last week actually, from the level 3119 to 3127. So this zone support was formed previously. So now, with that said, let's look at individual stocks. So let's go to the banks. So starting with DBS. Last week, if you were to if I were to follow through the charts that I had drawn last week, as I highlighted, we can see lower high over here with these three circuit levels. DBS had negated this lower high with a retest of this resistance at 30.48, so 30.48. So here we had a disappointing closing on Friday as the breakout failed. So we see that DBS trying to break out and then hit higher as it traded to 30.79, but it closed back lower below its resistance. So as such, it formed a selling candle, a bearish candle. So can the market negate this selling candle or confirm this selling candle? So if it confirms this selling candle, DBS should be closing around 30.20 tomorrow. If DBS is bullish, right, we shall see it hits back to 30.66 around there. So long as above 30.48, that will be very good. Okay, but one thing positive about DBS action is that at least now we are not facing a potential downtrend, but potentially sideways. And not to forget, this week, this coming week, we have DBS results coming soon. Okay, so how do you look at the results? Basically, we would expect positive action, or rather, we expected them to announce a good set of results and therefore provide some positive action to the price, or positive movement to the price. Let me just share with you this that you should know. Okay, so every morning in your mailbox, you should, or during the working days, your mailbox, you should be receiving this email. This is a report that is done by the Lim and Tan research team, and they would compile all the necessary information for us. And one of the important information that I tend to use is the result earnings table. Okay, so I shall share this to you right now. And let me just zoom in. As you can see from the screen right now, we are looking at the Ascenders results tomorrow, and Great Eastern Holding. Great Eastern Holding result is a pre-look of the OCBC result, because Great Eastern Holding is part of OCBC. So if or I would use a better word, is preview. So if Great Eastern Holdings has a good result, then we expect OCBC will have an even better result. Okay, then OCBC, we have it announcing result together with UOB before the market opened on the Wednesday, 4th of August, then DBS on the 5th. So during this week, we also have some other results, like for example, Fraser Properties and Sembcorp Industries. Okay, so these are some of the interesting counters, and of course, Fraser Logistics for those who are holding these REITs like me for long term. So we want to look out for the result, and not to forget SGX. SGX has been bullish for the whole week, and its result is very much sought after. So we are going to look out for its result. Now, if you were to look further below, the next following week, we have Wilmar International, which has been selling down quite badly recently. So we would like to know what is going on, so the result may shed some light. And then we have ST Engineering, and of course those who are concerned with city development on the 12th of August, they're going to announce results. Then Capital Land on the following day with Nanofilm Tech. Okay, Nanofilm Tech is also one of our counters that we have been following up quite closely. Okay, so these are the results that you can get through the report daily. So if you would like to know what are the dividends that are going to be paid out, of course, you can refer to this table as well, so that you can expect when the dividends can reach you. Okay, so we have the payable date, so date payable. So these are the dates that you should be looking at. All right, so let's go back to the chart. So DBS, at least from the chart perspective now, we don't expect a downtrend. We're not facing a downtrend. The not so good movement will be a sideways, but this week I would expect it to consolidate before the result along the level at 30.48. If it doesn't have the catalyst to move up, at least it may build up towards the result. And OCBC, similar, you can see all the lower highs has been broken as OCBC break out from its resistance and stays above. It went up to test the next resistance at 12.38, but did not manage to close above it as the resistance hold. So there's some attempt to break up from it, but the selling candles, rather the upper shadow represent the selling pressure, and as such, suggesting the uncertainty towards the higher movement. So we have to look at the next two candles to see how OCBC will perform going forward. Of course, Monday and Tuesday, I don't expect a very big drop unless markets see something changes in their result. So Wednesday morning will be OCBC's result. UOB tested the resistance. So as you can see, all the three banks, the good thing is that now we are not facing a downtrend anymore, but rather the next course of action will be either it break up from resistance and go up higher due to its good result, or it pull back for some sideways action. Okay, so at least this is what we can take comfort with. Now let's go to the text. As usual, we cover AEM. As you can see, AEM last week we pointed out that there is lower high spotted. Okay, now we see lower low as AEM breaks below its $4 support and start to form the another lower high over here. Okay, as you can see, the candle here is called a hammer. We fail to get a confirmation. No doubt the next day is a white candle. But the Friday candle was not very good. Probably due to the Amazon's the Nasdaq futures was great. So we got to see it's not cast to stone yet. We got to see how the next few days that it will perform, how it will perform. So of course, if you were to goes below 386 to below 383, then we may see downtrend continue to hit 377 support level. If it can go back and cross above 399, then we may see some change of directions again. UMS will have a better chart as it breaks above this downtrend line and retest the same high. So now we are not facing any downtrend as yet, but the long upper shadow suggests uncertainty, and we may see some consolidation going forward or some pullback. So the support now that we are looking at is that UMS has the 1.53, has it at 1.53. Okay, then let's cover ISDN. So last week I mentioned that ISDN has a very crucial support at 71 cents, and it tested and broke down, but there was a very strong recovery. And what happened after this recovery at night? ISDN issued a profit guidance. Okay, out of the blue, it announced a profit guidance, and therefore it opened above this hammer. This is a reversal pattern. So it opened above the hammer and went straight up to test its resistance at 78 cents. Now, as usual, after a strong upward movement, ISDN like to have a selling pressure or pullback as we see the selling candles. So will history repeat itself again, where ISDN start to go lower and consolidate again? As of now, we are not sure as yet, so we got to see, but there definitely has a chance that ISDN may continue lower. Okay, so as the market would also like to take profit, but if ISDN does not pull lower and this time now can successfully break above 78 cents, then the next target will be around here. So the next target to break is 81. So after 81, we will expect it to go at least 84. And that will be the multiple year high. Okay, so let's see what ISDN would do tomorrow. Nano firm, last week I mentioned that it fell short of our target just by a little bit. And right after that, the next day, there are some selling pressure which we see as profit taking as the volume isn't that high. The stocks continue its selling on lighter volume compared to its buy volume over here. So is this the end of nano firms rally? Now, of course, the selling pressure, as you can see for the past 2 days, have been diminished with the volume getting lower and lower. So this might be a sign of ending of selling, a sign of a change of potential change of direction. If only if it can breaks above this line. Okay, and of course we are looking at the nano firm to rebound above 628 and then goes beyond back towards its resistance. Now we have a new minor resistance at 667. So we shall see whether nano firm can cross this downtrend line. If not, there might be more consolidation going on, and we would see that it may retest this level, okay, at this 6.08. Okay, so from there we would like it to form a base and then rebound to go back to test its resistance again. Okay, so we shall see what's going to happen next. Then followed by Franken. Well, the rebound seems to come to a halt over here. So last week we were at Franken here. Then we see that Franken had a strong selling pressure and push it down. But the volume isn't that high. So we would like to see more action. So thereafter we see Franken form a hammer and there was a rebound. But Friday, the gain was erased. So it creates a little bit of uncertainty and unknown about this counter. So we got to watch further and see where Franken is going to be. Because if it goes back 194, it is definitely a sign of potential upside. Now, if you continue lower to around 187 or below, then we may see more downward action as a change of trend may be on the card. So we have to watch closely. Let's go to the other counters. We have QN Dental. Last week I mentioned that if it can go back and test resistance at 83 cents, definitely it is a positive sign. And we have seen the counter move back to test the resistance again. Okay, it attempt to break out from the resistance, but this time around, again, it failed to break out. But to take comfort is that we see a solid, nice white candle with a pickup in volume. So tomorrow, if we can see more upward movement, this time out a real breakout to test 85 and break out from 85, then this is where we can look out for a potential upside, maybe towards 0.93. But of course, these are just some technical projections. It may come true, it may not. Like Nanofirm, we fell short of it, and then we had S&P 500 tested our targets nicely. So of course, don't pin too high hope on the target, but these are some of the levels that we can watch out for. Okay, so QN Dental looking bullish. The overall formation, we can see this is a nice ascending triangle. And if I were to have a projection based on this triangle, right, going forward, if you were to test a 5, then yeah, 93 is the target. Okay, so let's hope and see whether this 85 resistance is going to be tested or not. Just to follow up on CapitaLand, like the market is still looking forward for the deal. 10th of August is the AGM drawing near, where they are going to vote for the deal, which is likely to go through. So if the deal goes through, we may start to see the stock trades very near to 4.11. As of now, it is hovering between 4 to 4.06 level. Okay, so it hasn't really been able to break through this 4.06 level, but we are looking forward to its result and the AGM voting. Okay, now Del Monte Pack, right? We can see selling pressure coming in on this counter. Just to follow up, the uptrend is broken. So with these strong selling candles over here, so it is very puzzling why suddenly there was a very strong and heavy selling. So we got to watch for the next candle, as a white candle like this may suggest rebound coming. But if it continue to sell down, right, then the support at 395 may not be able to hold. Then if it doesn't hold, then the next support will be around 38. So watch out for a Del Monte peg. Then we have iFast. Okay, so this does not come through as we don't see a very clear breakout. Instead, the counter, after consolidated for the next few days, decided to break down. Of course, this is where the market sell on its results. Some analysts took it as a positive result, but some analysts like CIMB actually had a concern on the declining revenue and declining net income. So probably I would take this chance to explain a little bit. So the net income for iFast and revenue has dropped if you compare quarter over quarter. But you know, if you look at the longer term trend, in fact, quarter over quarter, iFast has been growing. If you skip last quarter, the quarter before, this quarter was even better than the previous quarter before last quarter. Okay, so just to give you an idea, before last quarter, the quarter before was 6.3 million net income. This quarter is 7 million, so it's still higher. Now, last quarter was 8.8, but it was an exceptional quarter, so they have done exceptionally well. So what happened is that, you know, that shouldn't be a showstopper that suggests that the company is not growing anymore. But nevertheless, market still decided to sell, especially we see a very strong selling pressure over here. The volume and the candle, they are a perfect match where we can see a strong fear of selling that push the counter to the support level at 805, and then the next support level will be at 7.8. So during the next 2 days after the sell down, we can see some attempt to rebound, but still fell short. But one thing that I can share with you is that since iFast has made an announcement that they have completed the acquisitions of a asset management company, and they are going to increase their AUM further, and that could help to increase their profit going forward. So of course probably not these few quarters, but beyond these few quarters, it may increase. So will that help the stocks to rebound? So let's see where the stocks is going to be. Now, if this counter can goes above this downtrend line, where it's around 815, 816, then there will be some signal to suggest that this counter can rebound higher. So we shall see. The very crucial thing is that crucial level to look out for is that iFast has to come back strongly above 860 so that it can get any formation of a topish sign. Okay. Now we are going to move on to APAC and next. So here we can see that APAC is still consolidating. We had a very nice buy up action, despite the volume is a little bit light. But Friday the gain was erased, but the volume is even lighter. So this may suggest that the consolidation is still going on. So let's see whether we have a consolidation a few more days before a breakout coming above 78. Okay, so above 78.5. then we may see more upward movement. Now, APEC has formed a minor support at 745. So if it consolidates within this range and followed by a breakout, that will be a very nice action. So is prop next. We see a rebound on Thursday, very nice volume increase, volume shot up, but unfortunately some profit taking with light volume over here, but we like to see more consolidations. The latest news is that we have a very strong, as I think I discussed last week, we have a very strong buying action in or is PR8 plus risk 8. And then the one that was announced just yesterday, I read the news, was that the most expensive HDB in Bishan, 1.295 million, above 40 levels, a very great view, and the most expensive HDB I ever seen. So that may suggest that the buying, the property market is still, transaction is still going strong. And then of course, if transaction is still going strong, valuations are going up, then of course we can see Propnex and Apex recover or go even stronger. So let's see how they will perform tomorrow. For Propnex, we have to see cross 198 to go further towards its resistance at around 231. Then just a touch on SIA. SIA went on to test its resistance over here. And it hasn't been able to break out from its resistance and start to consolidate. So we have to look out for the next course of action. The candle on Friday doesn't look very friendly, as it suggests some selling pressure, especially the volume has crept up. So we have to look out for the next action to see whether can it break out from this resistance in order to move higher. So the latest news is that they have recalled one of the A380 jumbo plane from Australia to fly back to Singapore. So this may be a sign that there might be more flight coming. SIA Engineering, as expected, it moved up, but it hit the resistance, its resistance, and haven't been able to break out as well. But at least now we can see MACD is positive, stochastics is still positive. Hopefully it can clear this zone resistance, as it really need to go to 223 in order to change its fortune. Comfort Delgro, as you can see, the downtrend channel, it really moved up to touch the upper downtrend line and didn't manage to break up from it and then start to pull back. So the selling volume was strong as well. So we have to see what is going to be. So the positive takeaway will be that if this counter is able to hold above 155, it may be able to form the double bottom and then start to change a trend. So we shall see what's going to happen next week. Sets consolidating within the top, and then waiting for the next course of action. Of course, we have seen improvement in this result. Now, the further opening of our economy will definitely help sets. Then followed by SPH, we can see a very nice trend going on SPH. We can see the indicators are showing strong positive sign. So SPH resistance to break will be 189. As it breaks above 189, we may see more upward movement towards 197. So let's see whether can it now break out strongly to go to 197, as it's drawing near to similar to CapitaLand, where it's going to finalize on the spin-off of the press. And then of course now we can see that the recent results suggest that without the press, SPH business actually has been growing quite well. So definitely it's going to help its result going forward. So 197 is the target to meet. Then Keppel Corp, it has a good set of results, a very fantastic dividend coming, 12 cents. And then the next resistance to meet is 561. So the Friday candles isn't that so-called bullish, as it forms a doji where it suggests uncertainty in its upward movement. It could be during that day because not to forget that it has gapped up higher. So this candle may suggest that day's mood that wants to cap its movement at around 550, 549 before it have more strength, garner more strength to continue to move up to 561. Kappa DC REIT is going to be next. So we are looking at Kappa DC REIT have an infancy of trends, change of trend over here with low and higher low. Next is to break out of its resistance at 267, followed by 269. Then we can see more upward movement towards this resistance at 276. Okay, so that will be the video for tonight. So I hope that it is going to be helpful for you for the rest of the week. Okay, so with that, I would like to wish you having a good week ahead and then a good National Day next week. Okay, so good night and see you again.